The Empire's mistake. The stars shimmered cold and distant outside the viewports of the Imperial dreadnought Vigilant Vow. They didn't twinkle here, not in vacuum. They burned with merciless clarity, like the Empire's justice, the Admiral liked to say. Ambassador Elena Rourke sat across from Grand Strategos Varn Ixel, the Empire's chief tactician and enforcer of peace, though peace was often a euphemism for brutal compliance. Her Earth-standard formal suit was impeccable, her silver hair tied in a precise braid. Her face was unreadable, calm, but not passive. The woman was forged from diplomacy, but beneath the veneer lay steel. "You overestimate your position," Varn said, folding his gloved hands. His voice was cold, metallic. "Earth is a frontier world with no place at the table. The Galactic Concordat only tolerates your species because of your novelty. Novelty doesn't withstand for colonial wars," Elena replied, her voice even. "Nor does it develop a quantum-fused alliance web in 30 years. We have earned our seat. You mistake tolerance for respect." His yellow eyes narrowed. "And now, you reject our offer of protectorate status?" "We will not become a vassal," she said. "Not now. Not ever." That was the moment the Empire made its decision. Not with words, with silence. Later, aboard her diplomatic shuttle, Elena activated the encrypted uplink to the Earth Council. She'd be back on the planet in 12 hours, carrying the Empire's thinly veiled threat as her final message: accept subjugation or vanish. Her aide, a young Martian named Roan, looked up nervously. "Do you think they'll attack us?" "No," Elena said calmly. "Not officially," which is why, 30 minutes later, as her shuttle left the docking corridor of the Vigilant Vow, the hidden plasma charge wired into the stabilizer core detonated. The shuttle's explosion lit up the outer stratosphere like a brief, cruel sunrise. Debris scattered in a burning halo. Elena Rourke, humanity's foremost diplomat, was declared dead in under an hour. The Empire issued condolences and blamed a mechanical fault. But Earth's intelligence core knew better. They just couldn't prove it. News broadcasts mourned. Vigils flared across human colonies. Elena had brokered peace with 6 alien races, had stared down coral mind priests without flinching. She had once ended a siege by walking into a war zone with nothing but a translator drone and sheer force of personality. And now she was gone. Humanity staggered. The Earth Council was furious, but cautious. Publicly, they called for investigation. Privately, military readiness was escalated across every defense corridor. But without proof, open retaliation risked war they couldn't win. One counselor said, "She was our shield. Without her, what now?" But Elena wasn't dead. Not entirely. Far from the galactic center, buried in the icy crust of Saturn's moon Enceladus, lay a classified facility known only to a dozen people on Earth. Officially decommissioned. In reality, it was the heart of Project Revenant, a last-resort initiative designed for scenarios just like this. Inside, surrounded by white light and low-frequency hums, Elena's body floated in suspension. Damaged, burned, barely alive. But her brain was intact. Her neural core, flash-mirrored during every off-world mission, was reactivated. She awoke screaming. Then she remembered. Then she chose. "Rebuild me," she said. Lead technician Dr. Nia Han hesitated. "We can keep your mind intact. The rest will need replacement. Cybernetic. Combat ready. You'll never be just diplomatic again." "I was never just diplomatic," Elena replied. They tried to end negotiations. "Now, I'll change the terms." Her body was rebuilt with titanium carbon bone mesh, kinetic reactive dermal armor, and an integrated neural AI optimized for multilingual combat diplomacy, whatever that meant. She'd keep her face, mostly, enough for the galaxy to recognize her when she returned. She trained in silence, faster than before, stronger, not inhuman, but beyond human limits. Her mind retained the old Elena, but her mission had evolved. No more playing by the Empire's script. They took her out to silence humanity. Now they would hear her louder than ever. Earth didn't know she lived. Not yet. Even the Council believed she was gone. The fewer who knew, the better. Timing mattered. And Elena Rourke was nothing if not a master of timing. On the Empire's core worlds, the propaganda machine churned. Elena Rourke, they claimed, had perished due to her own arrogance. A fool who thought humanity could rise above its origins. Peace talks were now suspended until Earth matured. But Grand Strategos Varn had made one critical miscalculation. He'd assumed Elena's strength lay in her voice, in her diplomatic leverage. He never imagined she'd walk back into the galaxy carrying a fire they couldn't put out. And the next day, she reappeared. The return. The moon of Jernka was a dead rock, forgotten on the Empire's far border. It had no atmosphere, no settlements, just a beacon station and a few automated defense turrets. Perfect for secrets or surprises. At 0400 hours Imperial Central Time, a lone figure stepped onto the regolith, walking straight through the no-fly zone with no life support, no weapon, and no fear. The orbital scanners glitched. The visual feeds jammed. But one image got through. A woman. Tall. Cloaked. Familiar. Her cybernetic arm glinted under the pale starlight. Her eyes, bright with something wrong, stared directly into the camera. Then she spoke. "This is Ambassador Elena Rourke. You thought me dead. You assumed the silence of one voice meant the silence of Earth. You were wrong." The broadcast went viral in 30 minutes. Despite the Empire's attempts to censor it, thousands of human-aligned data cells relayed the footage across galactic space. Pirate streams hijacked neutral trade relays. Even some non-human races, long silent, began forwarding the feed on underground networks. Elena Rourke, the symbol of Earth's diplomacy, had returned. But she was different now. Not angry, not vengeful, just resolved. The Earth Council was thrown into chaos. "She's alive," someone whispered. "No. Rebuilt," said Director Nia Han, stepping into the secure council chamber. "And she's done waiting." Global readiness escalated to DEFCON Black. In the Empire's capital, Strategos Varn watched in silence. He rewound the footage again and again. "That's impossible," muttered his adjutant. "She was never impossible," Varn said quietly. "She was inevitable." He ordered new directives. Mobilize border fleets. Double surveillance on rebellious worlds. Capture Rourke, alive if possible, dead if not. It was too late. Elena wasn't alone. Project Revenant had been building quietly for years. Contingency assets, off-grid AIs, sleeper cells trained in adaptive warfare and soft-skill insurgency. And now Elena had activated them with a single code phrase embedded in her broadcast. "Terms are broken. Let the shadows speak." Across the galaxy, agents woke. Diplomats became disruptors. Scholars became saboteurs. Colonies long silenced by imperial threats began transmitting support messages to Earth. Alien mercenary clans, once neutral, started switching contracts for free. The Empire's colonies began to waver. On Ebrith Prime, students held rallies holding up Elena's image. On Talcor 4, dockworkers refused to load munitions bound for Earth-targeting fleets. On Calrath, an Imperial warlord's own lieutenant defected on a live broadcast, quoting Rourke's final line. "You should have made a deal when you had the chance." The Empire, bloated and used to obedience, didn't know how to deal with loyalty born from truth. Elena led her first strike personally. A political prison ship known as the Oathbreaker was transporting 5 captured peace delegates from neutral systems. The Empire planned to disappear them. Elena arrived in a hijacked diplomatic shuttle. She walked in through the front airlock. She left 20 minutes later with all 5 prisoners and a transmission. "You do not get to rewrite history. I'm still the author." The UN declared her Earth's special envoy of resistance. Not a general, not a president, a diplomat, with power no weapon could match. She spoke on open channels not just to humans, but to all species once cowed by the Empire. "We came in peace. You gave us war. Now we bring peace, sharp-edged and unforgiving." In a sealed chamber, the Earth Council met her again. She stood before them, armored, scarred, beautiful in a way that frightened them. "You're not the Elena we lost," one counselor said. "No," she replied. "I'm the Elena you needed." "What are you now?" another asked. A soldier? A weapon? I'm a message, she said. One they cannot delete. On the galactic stage, something shifted. The Empire began losing more than systems. It began losing fear. People, beings, were choosing hope, choosing resistance. Not because Earth promised power, but because one woman walked out of death, unbroken, and looked the most powerful regime in the galaxy straight in the eyes and said, "You will listen now." Final scene, broadcast to all known systems. Elena sat before a galactic transmission terminal. Behind her stood leaders from rebel colonies, alien dignitaries, even an old rival ambassador from the Coral Confederacy. She looked into the lens. Calm, certain. The Galactic Empire tried to silence me. The next day, I returned. Not with vengeance. With clarity. With proof that ideas can survive bombs, and voices can rise from ashes. This is not humanity's end. This is our turning point. And I am your reminder. Transmission ends. Somewhere in the darkness of space, a fleet turns around.